Hey guys, I'm gonna do a tutorial showing you guys how I did my cowhide geode. I started off, I didn't feel I needed to do this part in the tutorial. I could just explain how I did it. So I actually have a cup that's been glittered and painted, and I'm gonna show you guys the colors I used. Let's see. So I just originally for this one, you can kind of see I actually did a swirl with all the colors and it came out really cool, but it's also really time consuming. So I actually took all of the stuff that fell off and just put it in a cup, and I've been using that ever since. And I think it's a lot easier and I think it looks just as good. So the colors I used were sandstone, butterscotch, why these orange ones don't show very well. It's hollow copper sparkle, chocolate diamonds, eau chocolat, hollow coco loco, hollow twilight black, hollow black, and polar cuts. These are all Patty's Glitter and Crafts for You glitter. Really, you could just use any browns and whites and blacks and tans. You could throw gray or silver in there if you wanted to. It's cowhide. I went with a brindle because it's my favorite, so I kind of went with all the colors. I actually want to try to get some tinsel in those colors because I think it would look really cool since it's kind of like little tiny hairs. So anyway, so I epoxied the cup and glittered it. I put another coat of epoxy over to seal. You can see how I actually used less epoxy. This is a 16-ounce cup, and normally I would have used 16 to 18 milliliters total to get a little bit better coverage and probably a couple coats because it's a chunky glitter. But in this case, I actually only used 15, so 7.5 of each. You want it, I want the texture. I mean, this cup feels like crap right now. It's sharp. You can just see see if I can get it to focus. You can see the texture, because that's actually what gives it its realistic look. So then after that was done, I think these combination of these two spray paints is where my whoops happened. And it actually worked out really well. So I started with actually the hammered, I think it's just brown. Yeah, it's just brown. I used it because it was the only brown I happened to have on hand. And I'm honestly not sure if it's that or this that is giving this really cool crackle effect. I think it might possibly be this over the top of a glossy. So I haven't really branched out because it keeps working. So I'm just using the same thing. But when you spray this, the camouflage, which is like ultra matte, which it's hard to find a lot of matte spray paints, but it's a perfect color. And again, I happen to have it. It just crackles. It's just almost instant. And the whole cup just is covered in all of these crackles. And I thought it was a screw up, but I figured, hey, I'll just keep going. Then the next color I did was gray. This is a satin. I really don't think it matters if it's satin or glossy. You're going to muddle it all together anyway. And then I followed it with 2 coats of, this is glossy white. I don't think it really matters if it's glossy, satin, covering it in epoxy, so it's going to be shiny no matter what. So this cup is actually my original one. If you can not sure if you can see the texture and the crackles. It's not really wanting to focus. Yeah. I think my phone's been thrown by my toddler a few too many times in the last few days. But anyway, this was a patina cup that I tried. It has some of Patty's mica powder at the base, but So if I have to try to figure out how to recreate it using Hermica powders instead, this is just the patina paste. So I wanted to try to do the cowhide, and this was my first attempt, and I think it came out pretty good. So let's dive in. I've got my little thing of acetone, and then I have my, was it 99% alcohol. It would be much better if you could have your acetone in something like this, but this one that I bought off of Amazon does not work at all, so I'm pouring it out into a cup because it gets dirty really quick, so it'd be better to have clean acetone. Then I've got a microfiber towel. Apparently, this is the first geode I've done ever, so I just used what I had heard recommended, and it's working really, really well. And then for finishing stuff, I actually have a lens cleaner, like for your glasses, it's for Costco, and it really helps as well. I have not tried washing these or anything yet. I just kind of moving around on the rag and finding clean spots, but I do believe you can wash them. I will see. And I've got a lot more clean space, so I'm going to use it. So, a little bit easier. I think. Let's see if we can see that. All right. So I'm gonna try to pick spots to expose my glitter that are a little more on the smooth side and save the really rough spots to work with some brushes later. I'm gonna probably do this tutorial in a couple steps because it's a fairly lengthy process. And right now I'm trying to expose patches of glitter, so I'm gonna be pretty aggressive. See how dirty the rag is already, but the transfer doesn't really matter because you're going to kind of blend it in later. Gloves. That's actually, I do know that obviously acetone will eat through your gloves, probably fairly quickly. These, I honestly don't have the box, so I can't tell you exactly. They're a nitrile. My husband actually got them for me from his work years ago, and I've just been, he's a firefighter, and they ordered a case of smalls, and apparently no one at any of the district's stations wear smalls, so he's just been kind of gradually bringing the stock home to me. Then I told him to actually donate the rest of them because other people need them more than I do, but I have a handful of them left. I've done 3 cups with this glove, and it hasn't eaten through, which is really nice. But if you don't have these, I would definitely kind of keep checking and make sure you don't have a big hole, because acetone's not great for your skin. Okay. I don't really have a lot of rhyme and reason for how I kind of, other than, like I said, I do kind of tend to pick the smoother spots for at least to start off. But, you know, it's, again, Cowhide. It's a completely random, so it really doesn't matter. Connect those. Okay, I think I'm probably gonna leave it like that for now, because more stuff's gonna get exposed through the process. And it's also, right now it's not super messy, but it's gonna get pretty messy. So something to be aware of is kind of what you have in your surrounding, because paint kind of tends to splatter everywhere. So make sure you're wearing, you know, smock or an apron or something that you don't care about. And I'll probably move my finished tumblers back so that I don't splatter them. Okay, so now I'm just gonna kind of go over the whole thing, and I'm gonna go over it. I kind of tend to do the whole thing at an angle, like hair, you know, doesn't grow up and down. It kind of, you know, grows to the side at an angle. So I kind of try to make it all, I don't know, cohesive, I guess is the word. So now I'm just gonna kind of go over and kind of blend everything in. And kind of use short strokes. Again, whoops, didn't work very well. So I need to make that connector longer. trying to just kind of do a little acetone at a time so that it gets used up quickly. That way it doesn't get super dirty. So at this point, I think I'm just pretty much just going around until I'm got most of the muddled areas. I'm not worrying about where the glitter's exposed because I'll come back and clean that up with nice clean acetone and nice clean rag. Like that. You want to try to, you don't want all the white to be so brown or tan or whatever you want to call it that it looks like there's no white, because I like that part. So I'm switching to my alcohol now. I'm gonna kind of clean these areas up a little bit for right now. they're gonna get covered again multiple times, but I kind of like them to be clear so I can kind of see and get a better idea. Ooh. Worked very well. Sorry, I just squirted myself in the boob. Now comes the fun part and the messy part. So, I guess I should have thought of my paintbrushes first. There we go. So I got a cheap little chip brush and I hacked the top off of it, and it's what I've been using. Works great. And then I'm just gonna dip it in the acetone, and I kind of try to squeeze the excess off. And we just start, again, short little strokes. Be careful because it can tend to run down your cup, and if you, which is fine, but you want to see where it's running so it doesn't leave a streak. Excuse me, I have to open the door. I'm having a hot flash. Whew. Sorry about that. Hey, knock it off. Shush. It's just the horse. Shush. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna leave that. And we're gonna... Hush. That's enough. Okay, and then final step, and I forgot to get these out, is some paint. And I have another, like, smaller, this was a paintbrush. I have no idea where I got it. It says it's a fabric paintbrush. I don't know, it's really stiff, just like the chip brush. Probably could use the chip brush, but I like to have a little, these are more finer. Sorry. I'm not sure how much noise you guys are hearing, but I live on a cattle ranch. So somebody just went by with a big old stock trailer and diesel, and they were just out putting a horse away, which is what made my dog go crazy, because I literally have a horse like 6 feet across from me. All right, let me grab some paint. So I've been playing around with some different colors. In fact, this just straight brown. I used it, and if you want to get a really authentic cowhide, which is covered in mud and poop, this is great. But it actually works kind of as just a good base. And then I have like a beige color, and then this is just a warm white, but white would work. Again, I think, I haven't tried black. I'm afraid it might take over a little too much. So I've stuck with the browns and the beiges. You could definitely use a gray. I think that kind of the sky's the limit there. I've just been kind of working this one. It has never been used. I'm trying a different beige. Sorry. You won't use a whole lot. So start with the darker. Actually, I need... So this is, if any of you guys paint or furniture or anything like that, it's a kind of a technique called dry brushing, and that's what I'm doing. So just start with a little bit of paint, I mean very little, and then I just kind of dab. I may have dabbed too much off, but and then again, same stroke. Everything needs to be kind of the same direction. Really would like to get a better brown, because this is like literally, it's like shit brown. Sorry, but and I try to avoid the glitter spots, but if you can always wipe paint off. little heavy-handed right here blending it. I might see about trying to... I can blend it with white and the other paint, but I'm going to try to just see if I can't. Nope. I think actually I'm going to try using this as a paintbrush. I think it actually gives more texture, and I like that. It actually just looks like hair. There is just like almost no acetone in my cup. I'm just kind of getting just a touch, and I think that's actually a good thing. Okay, that's a little better. So, I don't know. I'm gonna try using this brush. We'll see. This could be a failed tutorial. We'll try it. Okay. Try to do that so I can actually maybe use some of it instead of wasting it. I like this brush better, actually. A lot quicker. So, yeah, go with the cheapo. And I'm not really too worried about cleaning my brush because all the colors are kind of getting muddled together anyway. And then at this point, I take and kind of go over the glitter a little bit. So I get kind of some hair essentially going across it, kind of just streaks. And this is where you'll come along with the rubbing alcohol and kind of go over these, and if you've got a little too much white or there's a fog on them. So this is a much browner. I want to find a darker brown and use less of it, I think. My other one is much whiter, I think. But beige is okay. Again, it's cowhide. It's supposed to be dirty and muddy and boopy. So I'm pretty picky. I want it to look as natural as possible. And then once it starts getting the epoxy on it, and then I will actually, after the next coat of epoxy, I'm going to sand. So a lot of these big bumps that are kind of exposed will actually, the glitter will get exposed, so there'll be kind of little speckles. You can kind of see all these little spots right here. Those are all where I sanded, and I think it gave a pretty good, again, authentic, realistic look. So I'm just going to kind of tone down with some alcohol, not acetone. I'm just kind of making sure there's no paint film. It'll get kind of foggy, and that won't go away when the epoxy goes over it because it's paint. But I think I'm gonna leave it alone. Sometimes if you start messing with them too much, you actually make it, you screw up. So anyway, that's my take on it. And then, like I said, at this point I'll epoxy it and then sand it. Not really conducive for a logo or anything, just because it's such a busy cup. I mean, I guess it's to each their own, but that's why I have kind of stopped at this point with this one, because I'm not really sure if I should put something on it or just leave it as is. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good evening. Stay safe, wash your hands, all that good stuff. All right, bye.